So much that we think we've had this ethereal, spiritual experience just because we can say large words. So I put all my theology books up on high shelves. And not because it's not good to study all that stuff. But you know what it comes down to? That you can skip over God created and start arguing about stupid stuff like creation versus evolution. Who cares? Who cares about all of our little theories and talking this and talking about this and arguing about this and arguing about that? Do you believe that God created? In fact, let me make it even easier for you. Do you believe God? Yes. And if you believe God, then everything else changes. If God's real, then you're not in control. If God's real, I'm not in control. If God's real, it doesn't matter what I think. If God's real, it doesn't matter if people think I'm cool or think I'm an absolute freak. If I'm alone, then all of that matters. If you're alone, all of it matters. And if you're not alone. You know, some of us in this room, we believe more. And I'm talking about some of us in this room, I'm talking about myself, because some of the time, every one of us in this room believes more that the devil knows your name than that God knows your name. But you know what? Reality is that the devil doesn't know your name. For most of us in this room, the devil doesn't have a clue who we are because he's not that smart. No, I mean, really, he doesn't know stuff like that. Only God is all-knowing. So every day you wake up, you don't think whether the devil's cursing you because he doesn't know your name. But God knows your name. And if the devil does know your name, let me tell you, the thing to do is not to fight. It's to play. No, really, because see, God loves to make fun of his enemy by sending his children to the battleground. God says, I want to give you big cities, but you know what? I got to get rid of all the smart strategists. Because they think it's their smart strategy that's winning the battle. So I'm going to get rid of all of them, all you talented ones. And I'm going to keep Joshua and Caleb because they still think it's me. I'm just going to sing a couple songs over you, and then I have a little message for you, and then I'm going to sing again over you. And we're just going to kind of get to know each other tonight. And we don't do concerts, see? That's not what we really do, see? So it will be completely different tomorrow than tonight, and that's what's so fun about it. That's why I hate it when I can only come for one night, because it's not as fun. But it really isn't. So we're going to get to know each other. That's pretty cool. Maybe by tomorrow night you'll just sit right here. I've been thinking about that lately. We need to do that more. All you bass players, maybe tomorrow night you ought to just sit by the bass player. Everybody just come up here and gather around. It's so fun when we have our kids because my kids all sit up here with me. And anyway, I don't know what that was about. What was I talking about? Do you remember? Or were we just laughing?
Mighty warriors and the people that we have to send home all the
Oh, yeah. This is what's so special about God. His strategies are completely different than ours. So So, see, he just reverses the whole thing and he makes fun of his enemies. So don't fight it if you find out that the devil knows your name or somebody tells you. It's like, thanks for telling me. Oh, I got this little song. Maybe I'll sing this over you. Maybe that's why I'm going this way. Oh, it's a special song. I think you guys will really like it. It's a little bit funny. But one day I was sitting with the Lord and I said, Father, it seems like sometimes I go to prayer rooms and I don't know if you've ever been to a prayer room where they're real panicked. You know? And I always find that prayer rooms are panicked where there's kind of CEO, spiritual leader type thing, people in charge. And I used to be frustrated by that, but then the Father told me that, because I used to say, why are these people so panicked? And then the Father told me, he said, well, they should be panicked. I said, well, why? Because a man has pronounced himself king over the house. So I said, oh, wow, wow, okay. Then it just refocused me. So I'm not making fun of anyone or anything like that, but we were in all these services and people were always panicked and they were screaming at us when we walk in the prayer room, there's a demon on your shoulder. This type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? This is the reality. I don't want anybody telling me that there's a demon on my shoulder unless they are confident that they can get rid of it. Otherwise, just don't tell me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't, if I'm away from my family, don't tell me that there's spiritual warfare coming against my children tonight while I'm about ready to go up and lead worship. I don't want to know that. I don't need to know that. This is what started happening. We used to have all these little critters, these spiritual critters, like come and bother my wife when I was gone. You know, they'd come and bother because they can't harm my family. So they just come to bother them, make them not get their rest, make them not get their sleep. And so I said, Father, I'm wore out on that happening. I don't want my wife to have bad dreams. I don't want these things to happen ever again. So what do I do? He said, you declare in front of your children and your wife every night at the dinner table that you are not the head of your home. You declare that I am. And you get it out in the open. That means when you're a jerk to your wife, you get on your knees in front of your children and you tell your 4-year-old boy that was wrong. That means when you do stuff that's wrong, you don't get to hide it under the carpet and pretend like it isn't there and say it's part of your personality. You know what I'm saying. You guys know what I mean. So there it is. And ever since I prayed that prayer, boom, gone. Just pray it. I remember one night my son was awakened in the middle of the night screaming, and I was ticked. I said, now how did that thing get in here? I walked upstairs. You know, I don't know if you've ever had something like that happen where you know there's something demonic. And it's not just your child waking because they wet themselves in bed. You know there's something going on. I walked right up the stairs and I spoke to the enemy and I said, I just want you to know that your war is not against me, but it's against the Father, the eternal Father of Samuel, James Upton, and Jason Upton. And our eternal Father stands supreme over you, and his Son, Jesus Christ, defeated you on the cross, and the blood has set us free from all of this crap.